Assalamualaikum and good day to Doctor. My name is Maidina Fatiha binti Sabri, matric number 275765. This video presentation will be about a study on Leong Bank Berhad, HLB in Malaysia, performance and its determinants. Moving on, for the issues and problems that have been discovered are problems related to investors, where a company that have any ongoing issue will cause the number of their shares to fall and lots of investor. Leong Bank Berhad (HLB) was opposed to issuing the NLT shares by the Pemodalan Nasional Berhad (PNB) due to the insufficient disclosure on that matter. This issue will affect the profitability of HLB as they are unable to increase the number of their investors. In addition, there is a conflict about the company where the chairman planned to take over the Leong capital privately through Leong Financial Group. This issue affected the investor of HLB indirectly as both companies connected to each other as the offer price was not compelling. By looking at the conflict of both companies, the investors of HLB also might be turned away as the share price of HLB also will be affected and also the performance of HLB. Continue, there are three objectives that want to achieve in this study. The first one is to discover the internal factor that influence the Leong Bank performance. The second one is to discover the external factor that influence the performance. And the third objective is to find out the combination of internal and external factors that might influence the performance. There are also some questions that need to be answered in conducting this study, which is there any relationship between internal factors with the performance as well as the external factors, and also is there any relationship between both factors with the performance. Next is literature review. In this part, it consists of two variables, which is the first one is the dependent variable, which is return on asset. According to the European Central Bank (BCE), banks' performance is related to their capacity to produce long-term profitability, which there is three traditional measures of performance. The first one is return on assets, return on equity, and net interest margin. Return on asset is a type of investment return that can be defined widely, as it also means return on investment (ROI). According to a study by Dr. Anas Ali in 2016, ROA measures a company's profitability in relation to its total assets. ROA indicates how effective management is at generating earnings from its asset. Meanwhile, based on the study by Ashok Kumar and Ghoshal Vachani in 2021, they found that ROA is higher in some sectors than others due to differences in the quantity of capital invested in asset. In relation with this study, ROA of banks indicate high value as the banks relied on their asset, which is mostly on their cash and loan. Hence, according to the previous study, can be said that ROA is differently measured based on the sectors, and it displays the ability of a company to generate profit while utilizing its asset. The next one is the independent variable, which is there are internal and external variable, but this study focus on internal factor, which is credit risk. According to Bank Negara, credit risk is the chance of other party may fail to meet financial commitments. Credit risk is a possibility that a lender may not obtain the owed principal along with interest, resulting in a disruption in cash flows and increase collection expenses. Based on the study conducted by Gandes in 2020, credit risk is the likelihood of a loss to which the bank may be liable due to the bank customer failing to fulfill its obligation partially or completely on time by not complying with the credit contract requirements. So there is a need for credit risk control in banking sectors. According to Basel, credit risk control aims to maximize a bank's rate of return. After adjusting for risk by limiting credit vulnerability, banks should assess how credit risk and other hazards are related to one another. A thorough risk control strategy must include credit risk management, as it is essential to the long-term success of any financial operation. Next, I will continue with the methodology for this study. The dependent variable for this study is the performance of Leong Bank, and the independent variables will be on three factors, which are internal, external, and external. The sample used for this study is Leong Bank Berhad. The data was derived from the annual report, and observation was conducted for 5 years, which from 2018 to 2022. The main methodology employed in this work is linear regression, also referred to as ordinary least square or LS regression. This method consists of three models which related with the objective of the study. The model 1 will analyze the performance with internal variables, the model 2 for external variables, and the model 3 for combination internal and external variables. These models were analyzing by using IBM SPSS version 26. Continue. After conducting the analysis, there are several findings that retrieve from this study. The first one is descriptive statistic. The average mean of dependent variable, which is ROA, is 0.025, indicates that HLB can earn an income equivalent to 25% of its asset, and the lowest is inflation rate, which is 1.70. This demonstrates that the cost of operations of HLB is roughly 170%, which is a positive indicator for HLB profitability because inflation has caused an increase in revenue. The highest average is the average collection period, which is 9310, means that HLB will have around 9,000 days to collect money from its client. It is a large number since typically the bank would offer a loan product with a lengthy repayment duration. In correlation part, the p-value of 0.05 and above is not as significant. As you can see from the data, the most significant to ROA is the interest rate with a p-value of 0.095. This shows that the HLB depends on the interest rate as the banking business earns profit from the interest income. Meanwhile, for the most not significant is the inflation rate with a p-value of 0.446. Next, for the model summary, the internal and combination of internal and external factors were not relevant to ROA because the R square is value 0.987 and the cost of limitation data. In coefficient data, we laid all the independent variables together. It shows that only internal variable, which is the debt to income, has a significant influence on ROA. This is because the p-value is 0.001, which shows that it has a very high significance to ROA. In conclusion, there is one objective to achieve from this study, which is to discover the internal factors that influence the Hong Leong Bank performance. This is because the debt to income, which is the under credit risk, is relevant to the ROA. Related to the issue of this study, HLB might some difficulties in managing their debt as there will be no sufficient funds due to the problem with investor. So in my opinion, HLB needs to improve their corporate governance structure by creating and keeping a strong governance infrastructure. They need to consider their shareholders' interests before pursuing any decision in their organization, as the existence of shareholders are important for their profitability. That's all for me. Thank you.